Okay, so let's just get down to brass tacks with this chapter. Ziggy's real identity. Because after Shiki breaks Ziggy's helmet, we see a silhouette of the face underneath the mask. And at this point, it has to be the version of Shiki from the Divergent timeline, or just one of the many alternate futures, which in itself also confirms that the dead woman is in fact Rebecca at that point, who had probably used her power to send that world's version of Shiki to this timeline. Again, it's either the Divergent timeline or just another alternate timeline altogether. But now, here's the fucking weird part of where my mind is at with this pseudo reveal. I'm 99.9% sure that the person we will see revealed under the mask if Ziggy will be Shiki. With all the parallels that Mashima has drawn from Star Wars at this point, this is him just taking the cave scene from Empire Strikes Back to the most literal level. So in that sense, I am near 100% certain that is Shiki. But I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna lie either. Because of how Mashima chose to execute this reveal and basically dick tease us even further with the full reveal itself, he's also got me questioning myself a little teensy weensy bit on that 0.01%. Again, near 100% positive Ziggy is Shiki, but because of the way Mashima is the way he is, that minute percentage has me doubting what we're seeing really is what we're gonna get, or there's gonna be some kind of like some kind of other explanation attached to it, but we're as to what we're really seeing is Shiki or not, but again, just from just looking at Shiki's reaction itself, that seems to favor the 99.9% right now. Like, I'm almost, it's basically affirmative at this point that it is probably like an alternate future version of Shiki in some form or another. Now, with that said, let's talk about the confrontation between Holy and Crow, or I guess a manifestation of Crow inside, as Holy confronts him inside his body, which in itself is confirmation that from what we know that he really is that fucking big, or he's at least modified himself in some way to be that gigantic. But the one thing I want to talk about is Crow's characterization in this chapter, as he mocks and laughs at Holy, describing what he did to her in the past. Like, this is something I've really kind of liked about Mashima with Eden Zero, is he goes out of his way to show just how unhinged and psychotic the antagonists in this world can be. It's an interesting contrast showing that yes, for all the good that can be found in this world, it can be equally as cruel. And the way Crow described his acts of cruelty in detail of what he did to Holy during the Bloody Atmos Day incident, like killing her sister and stringing her up naked, it really fleshed, like, and just her, like, defecating, just leaving her up there to, like, defecate in the town, like, it really fleshes out and gives a more characterized picture of what we've heard about how ruthless, like, of how ruthless he can, like, of how ruthless he can, like, Crow can be. And granted, again, this is stuff we already knew just based off the explanation Holy had given when she first like technically introduced him, the idea of Crow and whatnot. But it's like just getting that more first-hand perspective now. It's like, and just that association between Crow and Holy. It's like it is absolutely disturbing, and it is just absolutely disturbing. And like one thing that makes it so disturbing, honestly, is just how much pleasure Crow seems to take in his cruelty. And like, don't get me wrong, Crow has been a major threat up to this point, but it wasn't up until this point, the confrontation between Holy and him, that I think we've truly seen his true nature. And it's interesting when placing Crow up against the other antagonists we've seen up to this point. Like, Draken Joe was cruel and twisted in his actions, but ultimately for him, everything he did was just for the sake of business. Like he was all like Cutler Beckett, in the sense that every action of cruelty he took what he just saw as good business. Shura, while psychotic beyond measure, you could argue was a byproduct of his upbringing and how he was raised. But Crow, the dude takes the Crow is just an example of how he takes pure pleasure in the very acts of destruction and torment without even a hint of remorse for his actions. Like, he just loves to torment people. He loves to see them writhe, squirm. He loves to just destroy people. And it really, I don't want to say it shows how emotionless he is, but it is just how, it is interesting just showing the dark. I think he's just the true epitome of the dark side of what machine kind can be like. Now, granted, with all that said, and what I loved about Crow, the dynamic between Crow and Holy in this chapter, I would like to get some flashback moments interspliced into the background of Crow and Holy's confrontation, just to like hammer home how much the trauma and memory of that night is still fresh with her. But at the same time, the emotions of Crow and on Crow's face of just laughing maniacally, enjoying every moment of tormenting her again, and just Holy just breaking down. Those emotions are still enough in themselves to convey that as well. And I have to assume Mashima has his own plans for how he wants to show what happened on that day of the Atmos incident. But yeah, it's like overall, like, just seeing what happened on that day is it's just so much to take in. Like, to just like, Crow really is a monster in every shape or form. Of course, the chapter ends with Laguna and Jin showing up to help, and while they do have a lot of great natural combat ability, I'll be curious to see how much better they fare against Crow with the Ether Jammer in play, because as long as that's in effect, no one can use their Ether gear. Like, hell, I really want to even know where this thing is located, because this does feel like it's standard setup where they'll have to destroy the Jammer to defeat Crow's manifestation, but it's a question of how the hell they're gonna find it, because ironically, by Crow's body being so huge, it actually makes the Ether Jammer harder to locate. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this chapter. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Analyst Control. Push the notification bell with the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight with me, signing off. Later, everyone.